Hi, welcome to Soul Whispers Tarot. I'm back again with another pick a card reading. This reading is why did you meet this person? What is the significance of this connection in your life? So thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. If you do subscribe, please tap the bell icon and that will notify you every time I release a new reading. And thank you to everyone who's liked my videos and shared them and written lovely comments. I really do appreciate it. So in this reading, I've got 3 sets of cards. Set of cards number 1 is the amethyst pendulum. Set of cards number 2 is the cerise pink cluster crystal. And set of cards number 3 is the compass. So these are general messages. Take whatever resonates and leave the rest. Don't try and make these messages fit into your individual situation if they're not resonating. Overall, you always need to trust your own intuition above anyone else's. So I'll give you a few moments to tune in to the energies of the cards and see which ones resonate with you the most. So this is set of cards number 1, which is the amethyst pendulum. Why did you meet this person? What is the purpose of your connection? So you have the Ten of Swords in reverse, clarified by the Justice in reverse and despair in reverse. So I feel as though you and this person in the past have experienced a lot of heartbreak, a lot of betrayal, injustice, things that have caused you a lot of despair, a lot of unhappiness. In this card, he's about to commit suicide, which is really intense energy. I feel the purpose of your connection is this reunion after a lot of unhappiness in your lives. I feel a lot of you have gone through a lot of things that have wounded both of you in childhood and beyond, possibly in previous romantic relationships. So I do see there is this reunion. Some of you I'm feeling are twin flames. So there's intense energies. I feel overall, this union is going to help you to heal your hearts and come back into reunion with yourselves as individuals and with each other. But by that, I mean returning to your true nature, your true soul nature, as opposed to all the wounds and illusions and conditioning that past experiences have created. Because when we go through really painful experiences, often we create stories attached to those experiences, and those stories are often very self-destructive, like this Tower card. A lot of negative thoughts where we can tell ourselves things like, that person rejected me because it means I'm unlovable, or my parents didn't love me because I'm unlovable. All things like that. I feel there's intense energies within this reunion where there could be times where you're really triggering each other. You're really triggering a lot of these wounds and this feeling of despair to come back up to the surface. So there could be difficulties within your connection at times, but ultimately it is to assist in clearing everything which isn't the real you. Everything that's blocking you from having deeper self-love as individuals. So this Ten of Swords in reverse, feelings of betrayal, painful endings. I feel this is in the past with other people, feeling stabbed in the back. But the reason why I feel this connection that you have with this person in the present moment is triggering those old wounds is because it's in the reverse. I don't feel as though it's necessarily you're inflicting this pain on each other. I feel it's more about triggering that past. But it is so that these swords can fall out of the back, this person's back, and they can rise up. So it's about both of you rising up, seeing beyond those wounds, in the past, when there was all this despair, one or both of you may have just seen all this darkness, feeling like things are ending. Maybe you felt like, it's difficult to say ending your life with the imagery on this card. But in the reverse position, instead of seeing it as like the sunset, seeing it as the ending, you're now seeing it as the sunrise, the new beginning, new opportunities for growth, rising up, picking yourself up off the ground again. So yeah, justice in reverse literally means injustice. There was a lot of that. And now there's this, it's almost as though you're trying to balance the scales. Be in balance within yourself, be in balance within the connection. So anything that's out of alignment is going to be cropping up. So cutting the ties to negative thought patterns that aren't serving, because swords are about the mind and perception. So I feel like there could have been a lot of negative thoughts, like blocking both of you from truly loving yourselves, truly seeing yourselves and your worth, especially with the Nine of Swords in reverse as well. So the Four of Swords is clarified by the Nine of Cups and reunion. So there is a healing, there is this time of going inwards because the character's looking up towards the stained glass window. It's like in a cathedral or a church. So it's like a lot of spiritual contemplation. The purpose of this connection is to reconnect you both to your spirituality, to your soul family, to your true soul nature. So I do feel this reunion is not just between you two. You're feeling much more reunited with the divine as well. Having more faith overall in the divine and feeling like you're much more supported than perhaps in the past. There is a feeling of deep loneliness in the past. You and this other person may have felt very lonely. But there's a healing after difficult times. This is about rejuvenation, prayer. It's like your prayers have been answered. So yeah, I'm looking more closely at the imagery of this card. Obviously, the Three of Swords would come before this card, which is heartbreak, sorrow, betrayal. All things similar to that Ten of Swords. So the imagery of this card, there's three swords above the character. So contemplating past heartbreak. There may be some fears coming up to do, especially with this intense anxiety card, sleepless night card. There could be fears to do with history repeating itself and it being the Three of Swords, like heartbreak again with this person. But you're going inwards, you're contemplating, you're listening more to intuition, listening more to the divine, and that's creating a foundation of the Ace of Swords, which means victory. It means cutting through illusions. The Ace of Swords is all about clarity, assertiveness, clear communication, clear seeing, all things like that, as well as the victory. So you're contemplating, you're having clear thinking, but also listening to the heart, listening to the intuition. His hands are like in prayer position over the heart. Healing past wounds. That's a major aspect of your connection. This is why you've met each other. With the Nine of Cups, this is the wishes fulfillment card. Whenever I see this, it always reminds me of trophies. Through following your heart, through this connection, through this reunion with yourself and with each other, you're going to achieve so much emotional healing, emotional fulfillment. And you can be proud of yourselves because of that. So the Nine of Swords in reverse, clarified by strength and prison. So to me, this is literally saying your thoughts have been imprisoning you in the past, but it's more positive in the reverse position because you're freeing yourself from that. So there could be a lot of ego coming up initially within your connection. And by that, I mean the conditioning, the stories that we've attached to certain experiences where we feel unlovable, or we feel blamed, or we feel a lot of self-criticism. I feel if you're twin flames, you're mirrors of each other. And so if you have like self-criticisms, it could manifest as the other person seemingly criticizing you for those things is an aspect of it. But yeah, look, they're both in the same position, hands over their face, like leant over. It's like that despair card as well. So you could have a lot of like sleepless nights. This could be due to a lot of stress and pain from your past. It could be to do with this connection as well. But I feel the message here is to listen to your intuition over taking action on thoughts, because these thoughts, they're all in darkness. So that's saying illusions. Your thoughts are creating illusions, darkness. You can't see the light of day. You can't see the light of truth for overthinking things. There's this need to tame, with the strength card, to tame like the negative thoughts or overthinking. And that will create strength, that will create harmony and balance. The infinity symbol represents your connection and how you're mirrors of each other as well. So I feel the best way to tap into your intuition, if you have this tendency to overthink things, and the mind can go off on a tangent, like a negative, thinking about betrayal, fears of history repeating itself, sleepless nights, fearing all this destruction, but really you're heading towards victory. This is victory after a battle. But the way to really tap into your intuition, as opposed to overthinking, is to go off for a few hours and do something that you really enjoy, that's going to take your mind off of overthinking about a problem or an issue. So when you're doing that thing that you love for a few hours, it's like stress relief, which is what this can mean as well. And when you're in that higher state of inner joy, when you're more doing something you love in that higher vibration, then you can go back to the question, go back to seeking that answer. And in that moment, ask yourself the same question. And the first thing that comes up in terms of your feelings is your intuition. So there's the Tower card, clarified by the Wheel of Fortune and Love. So what Spirit is showing me is Cupid with this arrow. If you're struck by an arrow, it's painful. This is all about love. In order to unlock love, it's almost like you've got to break the heart open, sort of thing. And that means breaking away all the walls that surround the heart, which is what the Tower means. The Tower is always a blessing in disguise. The Tower represents our rigidity. It could represent the ego. It's some kind of false paradigm that we're basing our life on. So it could be false self image that's hurting you or keeping you stuck. It could be false perspectives in life, in love, in relationships, in anything that's false, anything that's keeping you stuck in pain and keeping you stuck from reuniting with your true self as a soul. It's going to fall away. Love is the force that can move mountains. It's literally the force that's going to erode away the ego, but the ego doesn't like that. The ego is afraid of its own destruction. That's why the ego is often afraid of love and opening the heart to receive and give the highest of love. So that's why pain's maybe coming up within your connection. It can seem shocking in the moment. It can feel like everything's all over the place. You can feel like there's a lot of instability, but really at the core of it is love. Love is breaking free. In some of the tarot decks I own, there's like light inside that tower, and it's trying to like break free. It's the light's trying to break through those walls so it can come out into the open. So yeah, there may be clashes, there may be difficulties, maybe arguments perhaps going on, but you know, there's all these clouds. The tower is like this storm, the thunder and the lightning is when the, you know, putting it simply, it's like when the hot air meets the cold air, and it's like they're opposite energies. It's like the high vibration of love meeting the low vibration of the illusions and of the wounds and the fear. And when they meet in the middle, there's like this light, there's this lightning bolt, there's this thunder, there's this reaction. And it can feel very destructive in the moment, but it's creating something new. It's allowing the light to be revealed and the love. So after the storm, there's a new dawn, there's a new day, like I said here as well. But it's like you have to go through the difficult times in order for this to be a major shift in this old pattern, in this old cycle of negative thought patterns. Because, you know, whatever we believe, we manifest. So if those beliefs are like blocking the love, then they have to break down. But yeah, the Wheel of Fortune is like a massive change in the cycle. This is strength. There's the Ace of Swords there and the Lion of Strength, the Sphinx. This is strength overcoming the devil. That's like the inner demons, the fears, the blocks, everything that prevents you from seeing your own divinity. Breaking free of that into love, a massive new cycle. And it is to this victory, and it's victory in love as well, because it's number 6, and 6 is about love and reconciliation with your own self-love. And you know, when you've become that self-love vibration, then the mirror manifests back to you and into your life in terms of reunion with your counterpart, whether you call that a soulmate or twin flame. So yeah, this is overcoming struggles. There's the white horse here. Every time I see a white horse, it reminds me of being on the path of your highest good, letting the light guide you forward on your journey. And it's towards this 10 of Cups, which is the happy family life, the happy relationship, the balance, seeing eye to eye, being on the same page. There's the home here representing stability. And joy, like, and there's conversation here as well. I feel like you have deep conversations with this person. You feel a lot of understanding for each other. I feel like there's a healing of the conversation as well. If it's conversation, if it's, you know, arguments or something that's creating this kind of energy, it's conversation again that's going to bring you back to love and back to harmony. So healing when it comes to communication. I've also drawn some other cards here as well. And you have friction, renewal, unity, alliance, shift, and dependability. Okay, so these are really relevant as well. So yeah, like I said, friction. But the friction creates a reaction. The friction is like that hot air and the cold air. But it is so that there's a renewal. Because this tower energy is very stagnant. It can be very like a stubborn kind of energy of the ego. And ego is just the false self, basically, all of those illusions. But, we feel uncomfortable in releasing old beliefs. I know it sounds really ironic and strange, but even if our beliefs are really negative, sometimes we can still hold on to them because we do feel a sense of safety and a sense of knowing in that kind of energy, if that's what we've been so used to. But yeah, renewal of thoughts, a renewal of love, a renewal of your connection after friction into unity. So why you've met this person is to find this inner unity, union with your true self, union with the other person, and in a grander scale, it's like a deep soul purpose or mission to create unity on the planet. Like your energies, especially if you're twin flames, are very powerful, and they have like a ripple effect that affect other people. So helping other people to awaken. And it kind of looks like a phoenix kind of energy, a lot of fiery energy. The hot, the warm tones and the cool tones. Fire and water, it could be. So in some ways you could be very similar, but in other ways you could be like that yin and yang, quite opposite. And perhaps sometimes that's creating some of that friction, but really it's like compatibility, like you're compatible. You complement each other is what I'm trying to say. So alliance, I feel this goes really well with dependability. So one or both of you may have felt like you couldn't really depend on anyone else in the past. You may have thought you could depend on other people, but then you felt that betrayal. Sorry. You felt that betrayal. You felt stabbed in the back by people. Maybe you felt like the people that you were supposed to be able to depend on, like parents or family, you couldn't depend on. But there's this sense of you can depend on each other within this reunion, like alliance, like your allies, you're on the same side. It could feel like you against the world, not in a negative way, but in terms of you building each other up and helping each other to overcome the pain that you've experienced in your life, in the world around you, in relationships in your past or family dynamics. And you're helping each other to create this major shift within yourselves. And again, I feel with the planet on a broader scale. So you also have storyteller in reverse, rebel, seeker, destroyer, lover, beggar in reverse, and Samaritan in reverse. Okay, so that storyteller in reverse is literally saying to me that that's the mind, those stories that we tell ourselves that are very self-destructive. It's time to release those. This connection is going to help you do that. There may not have been anyone you could depend on in the past that was going to help you to retell those stories and help them become more positive stories. Also, this could relate to people lying to you in the past, because this says making up tales that harm others. People could have been gossiping, telling lies, and you both felt very hurt by that. There's this rebel energy. I feel this is like your soul essence within both of you, challenges authority to affect social change. That's to do with creating shift and unity within the world. There's a sense that you're wanting to help people other people to unite with their true self, unite with the truth as opposed to illusions that we're fed throughout society that are trying to keep us disempowered, keeping us in a place of fear or insecurity about ourselves, insecurity about our worth. So, our mind gets stuck on thinking about, oh, I'm not good enough, rather than looking at the bigger picture to how the world as a whole is being manipulated in negative ways. So there's this rebel energy. I feel like this is the sole purpose. It says reject spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. So rejecting anything basically that's not helping you or others in the world. So rebelling against oppression is what I'm feeling. Seeker, thirst for wisdom and truth wherever you go. So yeah, you're finding deeper truth, deeper awakening. You're looking beyond old limitations or old paradigms, looking beyond old illusions. Opening up, broadening your horizons, seeing things much more clearly, raising your vibration, and it's creating this destroyer energy, which does remind me of the Tower card. Releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for new life. Again, there's a lot of fiery energy here. It's like, I get this feeling that there's been a lot of emotions and things bottled up with no real form of expression in the past, and now it's all coming out, all the truth coming out. Sometimes it can come out in harsh ways, but again, it is so that there can be this positive change, this positive shift. Lover, great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something. So it's like embracing your self-love. It's the love that you share with each other. Opening of the heart, which is the opening of the intuition, which is the direct link to your soul as well. Beggar in reverse, dependency on others to the exclusion of effort. So yeah, this is like more of an energy, I feel like, linked to the past that you've both shared, feeling like a victim, feeling helpless, feeling like you were looking outside of yourself to unworthy people, seeking their validation, seeking their love, approval, and all things like that. It's because you didn't know how to love yourself in the past, but within this connection, you're helping yourselves to love yourself a lot more. So Samaritan in reverse. Exacting appreciation and recognition for the help that you offer. But overall, I do feel like when I see this imagery, you are helping each other. I feel like you are mirrors of each other. Samaritan, you're helping the planet as well in deep ways. Creating these positive new cycles. So I'm going to look a lot deeper into this in an extended reading on Vimeo. I'm going to look into what the purpose of your connection is and what's going to happen and all things like that. So thank you so much for being here. I really hope you've enjoyed this reading and that it's been helpful and resonated with you. And if it has, then please like, share and subscribe. And if you subscribe, please tap the bell icon and that will notify you every time I release a new reading. So I really hope to see you over on Vimeo, and thank you so much. So this is set of cards number 2. Why did you meet this person? What is the meaning of your connection? Okay, so set of cards number 2 is the pink cluster crystal. So you have the Knight of Wands in reverse, clarified by the 3 of Wands in reverse, the 7 of Cups, and Soldier in reverse. So This connection, I feel this person's represented by the Knight of Wands in reverse. I feel this is someone who's been in and out of your life, but I feel like they haven't given you like 100% commitment. I feel there's a lot of passion in your connection. There could be a lot of attraction, could be a magnetic attraction, sexual attraction. This person makes you feel very excited. I feel like they are like deeply attracted to you in a physical way. And there may have been sexual encounters, but when it comes to an actual commitment, when I look at these cards as an overall, I feel like this person is more like this pleasure seekers card. I feel there's a lack of maturity. This may be someone who doesn't really want to grow up just yet. We have the Three of Wands in reverse here. So this is like you're waiting for your ships to come in. You're waiting for this person to commit, to make a decision, to be with you. But in the reverse position, it's like the ship has come in, but then again, it's not like a full commitment. They may have been giving you false promises. They may have kept you like holding out for the future, but the relationship was rocky. You never knew where you stood with this person. For some of you, it created confusion with this Seven of Cups. Like you wondered if you should keep investing in this. This person may have had a lot of options. They may have been like a player type, or they were just confused, like they didn't know whether to commit to you or not. This could be for some of you like a dynamic where you were giving and giving and giving and you were much more invested, and it's like the more you were invested and sure that you wanted to be with this person, the more unsure they were, the less they invested, the more they kind of kept you at a distance. Like there was this imbalance of give and take. I feel like this person overall lacks maturity to be able to give you what you want, but also they felt as though you were more in love with their potential because they felt like they didn't really offer you much. So in order to like earn your love or be worthy of all the time and attention you're giving them. So they've concluded that you must be in love with their potential because the present moment, they see how imbalanced it is. Now, I feel like this is an energy of someone who's running away, but they know that you're invested. So they've been keeping you around because they know that you'll give them what they want, like no strings attached, even though they know that's not what you want. So there's this Soldier in reverse. So to me, this is like being defensive. This person has walls up. And it's also saying to me that you've been trying to work so hard. You've been fighting for this connection. You've been trying to hold it together, but now you're feeling exhausted. You're feeling as though, is this connection really going to ground? The Seven of Cups is like the cups in the traditional tarot. They're all up in the air, and it can represent like daydreams and fantasies. So if this person is emotionally unavailable, then relationships and dynamics are a reflection of ourselves. So even if you feel like you are emotionally available and that's why you've been given and given, hoping they would return that, on a deep subconscious level, when we're emotionally unavailable ourselves, we're often attracted to others who are like running away from us or who aren't willing to commit, or there's always some kind of obstacle in the way. And often this dynamic is to do with like our childhood wounding. We subconsciously feel a strong attraction to romantic partners that are either emotionally unavailable like our parents were, or if there was any kind of abuse in childhood, our romantic relationships can be a reflection of that as well. So it's like the the wounded inner child, trying to resolve that childhood wound through a romantic relationship. But I feel the purpose of this connection and you meeting this person is to learn this major lesson that you can't wait around and put your life on hold, waiting for someone else to make a decision. Overall, I feel the lesson is about looking inwards to find that self-love rather than subconsciously giving your power away to other people who aren't worthy of your time or your attention. Because when we feel like we weren't loved in childhood and then we attract these situations in our adult relationships, it is because we don't know our worth, and we do believe that someone outside of ourselves needs to validate that we are lovable. But often it's a soul contract that we attract these kinds of situations often over and over and over until we realize eventually, I deserve better. I deserve to be loved. I deserve a good relationship where it's 50-50, or where both put 100% in and invest 100% in the relationship. So often it's when you hit rock bottom that you realize your own worth, and then that's when you can heal this dynamic, this pattern in your life, and you've raised your vibration so you can attract someone else who is available as well for like a true commitment and can love you as much as you're loving yourself. So I feel the purpose of this connection for set of cards number 2, the reason why you met was to learn this major lesson. So it's a blessing in disguise. Even if you felt really rejected by this person, in truth, their soul is showing you a lot of love because their soul agreed to help you learn this lesson. So in the long run, you can find that inner peace, that inner happiness, and then have that reflected back to you in a happy relationship with someone else. So I feel like some of you, you had to walk away, or there was some kind of separation. Maybe they walked away from you. Then I feel like you're like this emperor. You're taking back your personal power. You're creating stability within yourself, emotional stability. You're no longer basing your sense of self-worth on what anyone else does or thinks of you, especially people who aren't worthy of your time and attention. I feel for some of you, when you walk away, this person's going to come back and they're going to like make some kind of offer, or they're going to try and express their emotions to you. It could also represent that someone's being really stubborn, they've got control issues, they've got walls up, they're very defensive, and you were like wearing your heart on your sleeve and they weren't having any of it. They weren't accepting your love. But yeah, there's this 8 of Cups. This is walking away from pleasure seekers. You may have felt quite timid about expressing your emotions because you were afraid that this person was not going to take you seriously. And for some of you that happened. So you walked away, or they walked away. They were like more interested in having good times, maybe with their friends, maybe partying, things like that. And there's the Sun in reverse with the 6 of Swords in reverse and the 3 of Swords in reverse. So yeah, there was this need to walk away. There was a need for an ending. But I feel like you were afraid to walk away with the Sun in reverse. Like, this connection has been a blessing in disguise is what the Sun in reverse means. In the moment when you walk away, or know that you need to walk away, because that's what the 6 of Swords is about as well. Needing to move forward and leave this person behind. But in reverse, there may have been some resistance to do that. like not being totally honest with yourself, ignoring red flags or something like that. So yeah, you can see clearly that walking away ultimately in the long run is for your highest good. Like Spirit is saying, it's when you walk away, it's like getting out of your own way, because the universe has so much better in store for you in the future. But if you're holding on to things that aren't for your highest good, you're kind of in resistance, you're blocking from happier relationships, happier times coming in, which is what I'm seeing is going to happen in the future, I feel, with someone else. So yeah, look, this is clarified by waiting. That's like that 3 of Wands in reverse. Waiting and waiting and waiting. And in the meantime, like putting your life on hold, not being open to new possibilities that are better for you to come in. So some of you realize that. Some of you realize you had so much resistance in walking away, but ultimately, the more you hold on to this person and this situation, the more heartbreak you're going to feel. In the traditional tarot, this is the card where the heart's being pierced by the 3 swords. So the cloud here represents illusion. Again, I feel it's not being honest with yourself. You're keeping yourself stuck in the choppy waters, in the unhappiness, rather than moving towards peace of mind. And again, the way to find that peace of mind is to realize that this person and anyone else's actions towards you have nothing to do with how worthy you are of love. So yeah, this is a major lesson about not waiting for anyone, you know, putting yourself first. Some of you may have invested a lot in this person, so there's this tendency to not want to let go because you think, I've already invested so much. And it's like the ego wants resolution. The ego wants a payoff when we do that. But holding on is just creating more heartbreak, feelings of betrayal or abandonment or rejection, because I don't see things changing with this person. So once you do move on, you're going to be like this character where you're going to feel like everything's lost. You're going to feel a lot of heartbreak, sadness, mourning the loss of this. But again, I feel like you held on for so long because you felt like if it doesn't work out with this person, then I'm just going to be all alone. But what you're not realizing is that there's potential for the 2 of Cups, which represents the 2 of Cups card, which is the happy, loving, balanced relationship. I feel like your soulmate is out there, but they cannot manifest into your life just yet because you've been focusing on things that don't work out. You've been focusing on spilt milk or things where there's, nothing in those cups really, except illusions. 7 of Cups. So yeah, there was an imbalance of give and take in this relationship. You felt as though you were trying to juggle everything, you were trying to hold everything together, you were trying to keep the relationship afloat. In the traditional tarot, it shows there's stormy seas behind this person, which represents stormy emotions or feeling all over the place, emotional turmoil. Sometimes we invest and we work so hard focusing on trying to change someone else or trying to make a relationship work because subconsciously we're turning a blind eye to our own emotions that are all over the place, our own wounds. It was a form of distraction for you in certain ways. Whenever I see the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, though, to me it's a card of saying something's got to give. This resistance that you had about moving forward and just releasing this connection, It's like the universe is going to step in, because we have this misfortune card as well, which is like the Tower card in the tarot. But it's in reverse. So again, it's like you're going to feel like it's a misfortune that the universe has stepped in and forced this connection to break down. It's like you can't deny the truth anymore. You can't hold things together anymore. It's become too much of a burden for you. So the universe has stepped in to release you, to free you. And it's so you can have justice. You deserve better. And the justice is you realizing that. And justice is often about divorces, breakups, using that sword to cut away, to cut ties with people where there's injustice, where there's a lack of balance, when things aren't right, so that you can come back into balance within yourself. And then I do feel, like I said earlier, once you have that stability within yourself, because this is a 4, you've created that firm foundation of self-love and knowing your worth and knowing you deserve a balanced relationship, then you will attract a true soulmate who will be a reflection of that self-love, who will go out of their way to give back to you equally and to like shower you with gifts and their love and be really generous with their heart with you. And yeah, it's the 10 of Cups as well. This is the happy relationship. Potentially, you know, if you're still holding on because of those wounds and, you know, these situations stay sort of in our energy field until we've learnt the lesson. We keep attracting the same patterns, going in circles until we've learnt the lesson of doing the work within. But when you really do that, when you really heal, then yeah, I feel this new person is going to be a soulmate. You may actually get married and have children with this person, because this is the marriage card as well. And the 10 of Cups always shows the happy couple and the children, and often it shows the home. And this is like having it all and being really emotionally fulfilled and happy. And the star is all about healing. So yeah, you will manifest this when you really put in the effort to do the healing work. And if you're struggling with self-love, then I have got a really powerful activation meditation, which is called I Am Loved, I Receive Love. And in that meditation, I get you to connect with your spirit guides and your soul family. And I get you to look back to these kinds of relationships in the past, and even with your parents, where you felt severely rejected, abandoned, and unloved. And we look into the stories that you may have created about those experiences that are very self-blaming. For example, this person rejected me because I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable enough, or the universe is punishing me. And I get you to look at those situations and experiences and see your soul family standing next to you in those moments, because they were. And I get you to see how they have always wished you knew just how lovable you are. And I get you to see those situations through their eyes, where they know your worth. So then you know your worth as well. You see yourself through the eyes of unconditional love in those moments. So you can rewrite those stories that were very self-blaming and rewrite them to be very self-loving. And that helps you to heal these past experiences and know your worth and free yourself, raise your vibration so you are more in a place of self-love, so you can be attracting more love in terms of relationships as well. So that activation is called I Am Loved, I Receive Love, and that's available on my website, which is twinflamepsychic1111.com, and it's only $11.11, and that's US dollars. So we have despair in reverse. So you're going to feel a little bit of this despair when you release this person, but it's only going to be momentarily with this reverse card. I feel like one of the biggest fears that you've had is that it's going to be so painful in releasing this person and being honest with yourself and feeling like they rejected you. But it's going to be so much easier to face that than what you realize, because you are going to learn that big lesson. So that lesson's going to click into place. You're going to realize that none of this was personal. You're going to realize that their soul agreed to come into your life to help you learn this lesson, help you realize it's not personal, and it was just a reflection of your lack of self-love. So when you realize it's not personal, you're going to heal much quicker than what you think. And then, yeah, you're going to only be attracted to people who are like this. This card's called faithfulness. You're only going to attract people who are loyal and want the same thing as you and who are truly ready for a commitment. So I've also pulled some more cards. We have potential, balance, revision, context, and consistency. And we have codependency, healing family issues, keep an open mind, pay attention to red flags, and free yourself. So I feel these cards are also really relevant. I feel like in the past you may have, just like I was saying earlier, you may have fallen in love with people's potential, but that kept relationships more like the Seven of Cups. You know, those cups being up in the air, a kind of like castles in the sky, relationships that couldn't fully ground because you weren't being fully honest about who the person was, and therefore they couldn't live up to what you wanted them to be because that wasn't really them in the first place. So, you know, try not to fall in love with someone's potential. Try and stay in the present moment. Try and see what they're offering in the present moment. If they're not available now, then, you know, don't wait around for them to be available. Keep living your life. Don't take it as a reflection of your worth if they're not available. It's a reflection of their own wounding as well. So yeah, you're going to seek balance in relationships. That's what you need. And you attract that when you found that balance within. And that means emotional balance, knowing that everything I've said basically, that you are worthy to know where you stand with people. You are worthy of love. Anytime you didn't feel loved, it's just a part of that soul contract to help you get to a place of knowing that you do deserve to be loved. And when you really know that, that's when it manifests. So yeah, revision. You're going to be revising how you thought, you know, your perspectives when it comes to relationships. You're going to revise your way of going about finding love. You're going to revise, you're going to have this revision of how you see yourself, making positive shifts in your perspective regarding all of these things. And I feel like you're going to be realistic with yourself with this context card. Because like I said, there was that Seven of Cups. You may have been making things out of context in terms of feeling attached to someone based on what ifs, based on their potential. And often we hold on to people because we don't consciously realize that our fantasies about the perfect relationship or the fantasies about them being the perfect person are not real. So it's basically the dream, it's the fantasy that we're afraid of losing because we think that fantasy is real. And it can be very disappointing when we're honest with ourselves and we realize that we just projected a lot of like expectations about the person, loving us in ways that we didn't feel loved in childhood and things like that. So consistency, I feel you're going to learn to look at relationships, look at potential partners in ways where you're going to look at their behavior, not just listen to their words or their behaviors backing up what they're saying and all things like that. You're looking for consistency, not someone who's going to be all over the place. So yeah, codependency. Addictions are affecting your romantic life. So I feel like this connection had a lot of codependency going on. Again, codependency is all about when we feel like we need someone because we feel like we need that person on the outside to validate us, to love us, to accept us, to, you know, whatever we felt was missing in childhood or missing in previous relationships. Basically looking for the person outside of ourselves to love us in the ways that we need to love ourselves. And even if that sounds really cheesy, that is the truth. So you're going to be healing family issues, you know, healing this codependency. You're going to have a lot of insight. You're going to have a lot of epiphanies about all of this. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. So healing family issues, I also feel this is about reparenting yourself and giving yourself all the love that you didn't receive from parents and family. And again, the way to forgive family and realize it wasn't personal is again to see that this was part of the soul contract that you agreed upon. In order to eventually help you come back into your self-union with your soul truth, which naturally knows your worth and all things like that. So when you heal your inner child, that's when you're ready to truly receive love on the outside as well. So keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. So your usual type may be people that are emotionally unavailable. You may feel a lot of chemistry with those types of people, but that chemistry doesn't mean love. I feel like that chemistry, that magnetic attraction has meant like the inner child subconsciously knowing that those people represented the unhealthy dynamics you went through in childhood, and that magnetic attraction was your soul being attracted to those people so you could learn that lesson. So keep an open mind. Again, you may be thinking, if I can't be with this specific person, then I'm never going to be happy with anyone else. That's a dangerous thing to think, because whatever perspective you come into relationships with will become your reality. So if you tell yourself, oh, I lost my soulmate, I lost my twin flame, it didn't work out with them, now I'm never going to be happy with anyone else, then guess what? You're always going to be comparing other people, other relationships with the person from the past. And, you know, it's dangerous also because what I said about fantasies we project into relationships where the person was unavailable, and the mind not knowing the difference between like that fantasy and potential, but it not being consistent with reality. So if you go into new relationships thinking, oh, it didn't work out with the person who was truly the one, then you're always gonna think and see new relationships as not living up to the past. And, you know, that's kind of dooming your love life. That's dooming that relationship. But if you go into new relationships and say to yourself, I'm always attracting the person who is right for me in the moment. And if you tell yourself, I'm with this new person because this is who is for my highest good right now, And if you choose to see everyone as a potential soulmate, then you're going to be much happier in those relationships. So yeah, pay attention to red flags. The signs are cautioning you. So I feel like this is going to be one of the lessons for you as well. Like, I feel like a lot of you were ignoring the red flags and kind of telling yourself, I'm going to force it to work anyway. But I feel like deep down, a lot of you were unhappy. There was that Three of Swords card. You felt abandoned, rejected, like constantly by this person. That wasn't happiness. And you were telling yourself, I'm going to be happy when they finally turn around and commit. You wouldn't have been, to be honest, because you would have still felt like, well, they were rejecting me for all that time. And it just wouldn't work out in that way anyway, is what I'm feeling. Free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life. Free yourself from this cycle. Free yourself from this illusion that your worth is dependent on other people and how they react to you or what they tell you or if they commit to you or not. Everything is a reflection of our own beliefs about ourselves, about love, about life. So I'm going to look deeper into this in an extended reading in Vimeo. I'm going to look deeper into the purpose of this connection, what you're learning from it, how you can move forward and love yourself more and be ready to attract a true soulmate who is going to be emotionally available and give you a truly fulfilling relationship that is actually grounded and in reality, like completely. So thank you so much. I really hope you've enjoyed this reading and it's been helpful. If you have, then please like, share and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, please tap the bell icon and that will notify you every time I release a new reading. And I really hope to see you over on Vimeo. So thank you so much. So this is set of cards number 3. Why did you meet this person? What is the purpose of this connection? So this set of cards number 3 was the Compass. Okay, so you have the 3 of Wands in reverse, clarified by the World and Prison. So literally this is saying to me that you've been waiting for your ships to come in. I feel like you may have been waiting for this relationship to get off the ground or for there to be a deeper commitment from this other person. But in the reverse position, it's like you've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's become a kind of prison for you where you're feeling a lot of despair. We do have the despair card as well. There's the World here. So to me, I'm feeling as though there's an ending to the way things are. I feel like you're most likely going to become friends with this person rather than romantic partners, or there may be an ending of the relationship. But you'll be friends afterwards. This is the Before Tarot. And so in this tarot, it does show the lovers embracing, but it's almost like a farewell kiss because this tarot is meant to be before the original Rider-Waite tarot. And in the Rider-Waite, it shows the lady is on her own. I'm just going to see if I can find the World in the Rider-Waite tarot. The World card, where is it? Here we go. So this card's meant to be before that. I feel it's like more likely a farewell of you waiting around, farewell of this connection based on the other cards that have come out as well. So you can stand on your own and learn important lessons from this experience. I feel like you may have been keeping yourself stuck and stagnant through waiting for this person who wasn't fully there for you. So this could be to do with emotional availability. And if this person is emotionally unavailable, that is a reflection of yourself as well, because relationships are always reflections of ourselves. So even if it feels as though you were ready and you were waiting for a deeper commitment and you were available emotionally, often on a subconscious level, we're attracted to people who aren't there for us because it feels safer, because then we know that we don't have to have a deep or true connection or intimate union with someone if they're not there, and that's like safety for us. Or if you felt very isolated growing up and very lonely, then you could have just got used to that kind of dynamic where you felt alone and very self-reliant, very independent. And so deep down there's like a fear of losing that independence. So that may also be why you've been attracted to someone who isn't fully there for a complete commitment. So I feel like you're going to receive some kind of communication from this person, but it is not going to be what you wanted to hear. Like the seagulls coming and dropping the fish in the cup here. So it's going to be a surprise, whatever communication you're going to receive. I feel it's not what you're going to want to hear, because it's clarified by the 8 of Wands in reverse, which means delays and obstacles and a lack of movement forward. And it's clarified by the widower, the need to like mourn this connection, mourn this person is what I'm feeling. The need to say goodbye, like I said here with the world, like a farewell kiss, a farewell embrace. But it's going to release you from that prison. You may have been standing there with your heart in your sleeve, offering your heart, offering your emotions. You may have been communicating your truth to this person and waiting for them to reciprocate. And what they communicate with you isn't what you wanted to hear. So I feel the reason why you've met this person is most likely to do with if you have patterns of attracting emotionally unavailable people. And then, the need to ask yourself why you've been afraid of true commitment. Is it a case of you feeling not worthy? There's the 10 of Wands, clarified by the Hanged Man and despair. So you were carrying around a heavy weight on your shoulders when it comes to this person, this connection. The Hanged Man again to me is saying about being on hold. This is about waiting for your ships to come in, feeling imprisoned and stuck and on hold, carrying around heavy burdens, delays and obstacles. And the Hanged Man, a pause in this situation. But I do feel this is the purpose, for you to take a step back. The Hanged Man purposely hangs himself upside down by the ankle so he can see things from a different perspective. So I feel this is to do with what were you wanting from this person? How were you wanting them to love you? Was this person subconsciously similar to your parents in terms of emotional unavailability? Were you deep down, your inner child, trying to resolve those feelings of abandonment and rejection in childhood through attracting someone similar to that dynamic with your parents? So if that's the case, then there's this need to reparent yourself. And that means it could help for you to write out all the ways in which you felt that you weren't loved and all the ways you wanted to be loved by people, by family, by parents. And then you need to take the time and effort to love yourself in all those ways. I feel the deeper lesson, the deeper purpose for this connection is to help you realize how you were giving away your power by looking outside of yourself for this person or other people to validate you, love you, accept you, and how that was giving away your personal power. It's like Your soul family wants you to know that you are the only one who can determine your worth. Only you can know that you're worthy within yourself through that self-love. Sometimes we experience the same kind of situations in a pattern in our life until finally we hit rock bottom with this despair card, and then we realize, hopefully, I deserve so much better, because it's likely that you were given and given and giving and it wasn't being reciprocated, and then you realize just how much of a big heart you have, how much you were working on trying to make relationships work. You realize how much effort you've put into your love life, and you're finally realizing that you deserve that to be reciprocated. So then you know your worth. You stop this cycle. You love yourself. You give yourself all that love that you were looking for outside of yourself. And then you raise your vibration. And then in that higher vibration of self-love, that is when you attract the mirror back to you. The soulmate who's also done a lot of their own healing work. A soulmate who's also ready to have a truly committed relationship and wants this equal give and take when it comes to the commitment. So the 9 of Cups in reverse, clarified by the 10 of Swords in reverse, and hope. So this is like the wishes fulfillment card in reverse. So you may have had these wishes, these dreams, these fantasies that this connection, this person was going to turn around and commit and be the one to fill up your cup, so to speak. But there's a need for you to fill up your own cup, create your own emotional success, your own emotional well-being, emotional harmony, self-love. So if you're really struggling with like self-esteem and knowing how to love yourself and break free from these kind of patterns when it comes to romance and relationships where people aren't available, or they take you for granted, or they mistreat you, then I have created a really powerful healing activation in the form of a meditation, and it's called I Am Loved, I Receive Love. And in that activation, I connect you with your soul family and your spirit guides, and I take you back to past experiences where you felt abandoned and rejected, and you felt really bad about yourself, and you created like really self-destructive stories based on those experiences. Like, for example, believing you're unworthy, and that's why people made you feel abandoned or rejected you. So I take you back to those experiences, but I take you there with your soul family, and I get you to see them standing next to you in those past moments, because they were. I get you to see just how much they were really wishing that you knew just how lovable you are, and that you do deserve the best, and that you've always been lovable and always will be, and how they really just wish you knew how worthy you are. And then I help you to see yourself through their eyes, their unconditional love. And that helps you to love yourself more and release those old negative stories that have been holding you back and manifesting more and more of what you don't want. And I help you to rewrite the stories to be positive in the way that your soul family sees you as being lovable and worthy, so that you can realize your truth. And then heal that past, raise your vibration, and be ready to truly receive love. So 10 of Swords in reverse, this is healing from this heartbreak of letting this go, this person go. Because 10 is destruction, it's about endings, it's about hitting rock bottom, but in reverse. You're going to heal so much more easier than what you thought you were going to. Sometimes we hold on to unhealthy people and relationships because we're worried that we put in so much effort. You know, we want a conclusion to that. We want it to be resolved. We fear that we wasted our time if we just give up now. And we fear it's going to be so painful if we're just honest with ourselves and let this person go. But in reverse, I feel this is saying that one of the deep meanings of this connection is that you really are going to learn that lesson. You really are going to see that pattern very clearly of how you've been attracted to emotionally unavailable people, and you're going to heal and release that pattern in a major way. So that's like this hope card. Hope is coming back into your life, like sunrise after the sunset, the new dawn, a new cycle, a new day. So that blindfold is slowly coming off her eyes. And then you can see clearly. Ace of Swords. This is the victory card. It is about clarity. It's about cutting ties to anything that isn't serving you. It's a brand new beginning. It's about you taking back your personal power and being more assertive, especially as it's confirmed by this Magician card. And interestingly, he's holding the sword up in the air, just like the Ace of Swords. So again, this is you taking charge of your life. This is saying that you will have learnt the lessons, you've learnt the skills required to be a conscious manifester, a conscious co-creator with the universe. Changing your thoughts to be more positive, because again, whatever you believe, you manifest. So that's why it's so important to rewrite those limiting beliefs and limiting stories that we have on repeat. Because again, there's the infinity symbol. Whatever we send out to the universe in terms of thoughts is what we manifest. So you will have gained the knowledge, you've mastered the swords, the cups, the pentacles, and the wands. You've mastered everything in order to make your thoughts consciously more positive, seeing yourself in your power rather than feeling like a victim and powerless. And then the Magician is like the master manifester, manifesting a new beginning. So it's really interesting. This is an ace and that's a 1. So new beginnings, friend. So yeah, you may well become friends with this person, but mostly I feel this is you being friends with yourself, putting yourself first. Often, we need to ask ourselves, if we saw our friend in the same position that we are in ourselves, what advice would we give them? And sometimes, we do something totally different than what we would tell a friend to do. So being a friend to yourself. So you have past life relationship, worth waiting for, release your ex, reconciliation, and new love. So this is definitely a past life relationship. It says you have known each other before. So I feel like there's karma in terms of learning that major lesson, and that's why you've reconnected in this lifetime. It may have been the other way around, Spirit is saying, where the other person in a previous life was kind of chasing you and you were the one that wasn't really interested. And you help them learn that lesson in that previous lifetime. Worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your life. I feel this isn't about it's worth continuing to wait for this person. I feel it's more like it's worth waiting for the right person rather than just trying to make something work with someone who's toxic, who's emotionally unavailable. Worth waiting for. It's like it's worth putting in the work to heal yourself and love yourself in the present moment. It's worth taking the time to do that rather than trying to rush love. Because if you try and rush into a new relationship without doing the healing work, then likely it's going to be another version of the same pattern of emotional unavailability. So release your ex. The time has come to shift your energy. So yeah, release this person, release that pattern. You may have been hoping for a reconciliation. Someone from your past is returning to your life. But again, I feel it was a reconciliation from a past life. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're supposed to stay with this person forever. Because I feel new love is wanting to come in. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. But new love cannot come in if you're still holding on to the old pattern or the person who isn't available to you in the present moment. Victim in reverse. Prince. Child wounded. Pioneer in reverse. And slave in reverse. So victim in reverse. Playing the victim for positive feedback or an inability to maintain personal boundaries. So yeah, you felt a victim and you felt stuck in that kind of energy is what I'm feeling with this card. And again, it's because you didn't realize that you were giving away your personal power. You felt like your happiness was determined on what someone else did, what choice someone else made, whether this person was going to commit to you or not, whether this person was going to treat you right or not. You felt like you were powerless because you really believed it was only in their power to give you that happiness or not. And that's why it's vitally important to take back your personal power and realize you're only a victim if you can't see clearly that only you can determine how you feel about yourself and whether you know or not about your worth. So Prince, romantic charm and potential for power. So this person may have felt like Prince Charming. They may have been a charmer. They may have made you feel good on a certain level, but overall I feel it was triggering your wounds. So Prince, I don't know, it's reminding me of like fairy tales a little bit, like the prince and the princess. So perhaps I need to be realistic, like looking at people in the present moment, not projecting like their potential or falling in love with their potential and thinking in the future they will have changed and they'll be perfect for me and they'll commit and the relationship will be perfect. Part of this lesson, I feel, is needing to look at relationships and really see what's going on in the present moment, because we can't always live for the future because we don't know what the future is going to turn out to be. So, child wounded awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children, opens the learning path of forgiveness. Blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resisting moving on through forgiveness. So you may have seen the wounds in this other person. You may have tried to help them. You may have felt kind of like more like their mother or their father. You could see their wounds, but those same wounds, you could see them in them because you have them within yourself. So again, there's this need to have this inner union, uniting with your true self, knowing your worth. And that activation can really help you with that. Pioneer in reverse. Compulsive need to keep moving on. So I feel like this is representing the person that you were interested in. It's like they had this wound as well within their heart, so they were constantly running away. Slave in reverse, giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices. So yeah, again, like I said for the victim card, slave in reverse is like you were tied, like there's prison. You felt like you were tied to this person because you honestly believed your happiness was dependent on what actions they took, and they weren't taking the actions that you wanted. So slave in reverse is like cutting those ties, freeing yourself. So I'm going to look much more deeply into this in an extended reading in Vimeo. I'm going to see how you can heal yourself and what's going to happen in your future, in terms of your love life. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope this reading has been helpful and resonated with you. And if it has, then please like, share and subscribe. And if you subscribe, please tap the bell icon and that will notify you every time I release a new reading. So I really hope to see you over in Vimeo. Thank you so much.